It's Friday! Oh, that always makes me feel good for a lot of reasons. Among them, the Professor Sprewell Was Right host Armando Lara joins me, where we're speaking truth. We're just dropping just bombs that are accurate. That's all we're about, man. At least that's what I'm all about. Sorry to speak on your behalf there, Armando, but happy Friday. How are you doing, brother? You ready to do this?
Yeah, man. Been looking forward to this all week. Friday nights, the best, smartest chat room in Warriors land. Friday nights on Golden Days.
I am not hyperbolic in saying this. 100% genuine from the heart that when I say this is the highest IQ audience of any show covering the Golden State Warriors, there's no bullshit behind that, man. We have a track record I'm proud to admit is accurate. We nail it. And it's largely because we're not trying to make everyone happy. I just want to be honest. That's it. I just want to be accurate. And sadly, that's not the ethos for most of these other shows and programs who prefer to either cheerlead or just try to make, important people happy. You're not getting that bullshit here. It's just the straight truth. And I love that. I love the audience. I love collaborators like Armando Lara. Look at that background. Trace Jackson Davis, where have you been? This program is brought to you by FanDuel, and this is the Golden Days.
Let's go.
Welcome to the program. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone because Sam Gordon of the San Francisco Chronicle is okay. We're going to have him on tomorrow. I'm going to tape an interview with him right before the game, Warriors and Pacers, and then we'll play that interview after the game during the post-game show. I'll save it for toward the end. Hard man to track down, but I have a lot of questions for Sam. Chief among them, Moses Moody. What's going on with that thumb? Did that affect his minutes last night? Because if not, I don't think there was any good reason to keep him to just 9 minutes and change in a game where his defense was needed, his three-point shooting was needed. So Sam Gordon's going to join us tomorrow. But for tonight, Armando Lara joins the program. Welcome, everybody. Again, we're brought to you by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Golden Days and the Believe Network. And real quick, I want to check the sportsbook, Armando, before we dive into this and see if there is a line for Warriors Pacers. Do you have a guess for what that line could be? Like, do you think the Warriors are favored? Do you think the Pacers are favored? Usually they have Tyrese Halliburton. He's obviously out, but the Pacers, they play the Warriors tough every year. It's one of the hardest outs, if my memory serves correct, for your Golden State Warriors. If there's a line available, Armando, what is your prediction courtesy of FanDuel?
And for tomorrow's game?
Si, senor.
I don't know what the line is, but yeah, it'll be a
No,
close
I'm asking
game.
you to guess.
Oh, what the line is?
Yeah, play the bookie.
Probably Warriors +4, maybe.
Warriors plus. So you think the Warriors are 4-point underdogs?
No, favorite. So
okay, so be more. So you think it's Warriors -4?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you are at least on the right side there. The Warriors are favorites, and they're heavy favorites. They're favored by 10 to beat the Indiana Pacers tomorrow. So the Pacers money line, if you feel good about them. And look, man, gambling's a business, all right? You put your feelings aside and you put money down on who you think is going to win, regardless of how much you love your Golden State Warriors. But the Pacers money line is +370, the OU 231.5, but your Warriors 10-point favorites on the road in Indiana tomorrow. So the bookies really think that the Warriors are going to take care of business. And if you feel one way or the other, check out FanDuel, the official sports book, again, of Golden Days and Believe, where you can ride your money on your team and have some fun in the process. The juice. You like it? The juice, huh? Is half the battle. Did you ever watch that Saturday Night Live clip, by the way, with like Adam Sandler, and I think Chris Farley was part of it? They play these like paisanos, or maybe they're Greek. They're Greek. They're at a Euro spot. And every customer who comes in, this is like late 80s, early 90s, one of the under the radar sketches of SNL. And every customer who comes in, they place the order, and the entire staff, they're all male and they're all like lurking and pervy, and they're all like, "Oh, you want some juice, huh?" And the client will go, "Yeah, I'll take some juice," and then they'll repeat it over and over. "Oh, you like the juice, huh? Yeah, I want some juice. We give you the juice. and people in the audience, if they've seen it, will understand. Welcome everybody to the program. I want to give some love real fast as well to DeleteMe. I think this is today's Halloween. Wow, that means it's the last day of October. The DeleteMe sponsorship, I think, expires after this. So farewell to DeleteMe after tonight. Hell of a run. Thank you for sponsoring the program. One last time, in case you're unfamiliar with their services, their app, their software is designed to protect you and your privacy, both in terms of your past history. If you want to scrub information and data that exists out there, courtesy of your digital footprint, and for the future. Let's say you want to stay protected, you want to stay private. So all those monsters, all those thieves out there, they're not taking your information and punishing you for that. And DeleteMe makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everybody vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is literally a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with DeleteMe. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe now at a special discount for our listeners. And I cannot promise this discount will continue after today, October 31st. So take advantage while you can. And if you're watching this on November 1st or afterwards, still give it a try. I have no idea if it expires, but get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/pro and use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get that 20% discount is to go to joindeleteme.com/pro. Use the promo code PRO at checkout for that 20% discount. One more time, one last time, possibly ever. Again, thank you, DeleteMe. Joindeleteme.com/pro is the website. And make sure you also use PRO, P-R-O, at checkout for that 20% discount. The Warriors did not get a discount last night in Milwaukee, as Alice Cooper once infamously said on Wayne's World. Was that the movie? Yeah, that was the movie that he was in, where he gave off that soliloquy, eloquently describing how Milwaukee was actually an American Indian term originally. That is where the Golden State Warriors were last night, and that's where they lost. It was not a particularly fun game to watch if you're a Warriors fan. Armando, what was your reaction to that? Because I feel like everything you've been saying on this show, and I'm guessing everything you've been saying on Sprewell Was Right, came true. Al Horford was awful, and we're going to provide some very specific examples of that. Not a good game, and that -20 in net rating did reflect accuracy on his part. We spoke at great length last night, Armando, about Brandon Podziemski and the minutes he's getting, which are not paying off. He's fifth. I believe he's fourth on the team, in minutes per game. He was fifth in minutes last night. Had a fun debate with Desario about the fact that, according to Desario, our Brandon Podziemski defender in the audience, he's just a role player. That was the argument that he was giving me, that there are classifications for athletes that, in his mind, he's socially constructed. They don't exist in real life, but in his mind, Brandon Podziemski is a quote unquote role player. And so he's immune from criticism, that if the Warriors lose a game, it can't be his fault. We can't point the finger at players like him. And I had to explain to him, look, man, the guy is playing starter minutes. He has a big role, regardless of how you want to label him. He is part of the wins and losses here. And it's more negative than positive is what I'm seeing with these extended minutes. I personally think Moses Moody should be ahead of him on the pecking order in terms of rotational decisions. I wouldn't even mind seeing Guy Santos ahead of him just because of the size he brings, the athleticism, the energy. The Guy Santos discrimination from the Warriors coaching staff, it's getting a little old, man. I've been advocating for this kid for a long time. Great things. I'll say great for Kuminga. Good things happen when Guy Santos plays. What was your reaction to last night's disappointing loss by the Warriors?
Oh man, I would love to hear where the chat wants to spend the most time on. I mean, I think it's easy. It's easy to pick apart one player, and I do that because I but as I've been saying the last couple weeks, trying to educate people, like, you don't judge players individually, you judge them in the context of the lineups they're in and what the opponents are doing. But when I see certain individuals play in multiple kinds of lineups against times when the opponents are trying hard and times when the opponents are not trying hard, and I see how that bends the defense and the offense, then I'm able to talk about individuals. So we could talk about Horford and Pods, and I love coming on Friday night without a game because I don't just want to talk about that Milwaukee game. I do want to talk about the whole week. Because
Yes.
I am seeing the same things. It's just there were circumstances that allowed them to win a few times, and it kind of came out last night. And but so there are those two guys. But the one thing, Chad, I would, if you guys are interested, they lost the game yesterday at the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. And what I see going on with those bench lineups versus what I see is happening with the top four guys on the team, it's really important to understand. And it's the difference between the championship ring and the go home in a body bag program. And the season is hanging on a knife's edge because we could keep going into what they're doing on that bench unit. And I feel really bad for a guy like Will Richards. I feel really bad for GP2. I feel really bad for Guy Santos. I feel really bad for the two guys that are now on a milk carton, Moses Moody and TJD. There's lots to talk about. There's no reason why Podziemski should be getting more than 20 minutes a game. I don't know what we're building to there. So I'm happy to talk about any of it. I don't know what you guys are interested in, but
We'll cover all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna go until about 8:30 tonight. It's currently 7:15 ish. We're gonna talk about all of it, dude. Why don't we start with this? Because in the chat, and Armando, you sent this to me. This clip went under the radar. If you had not sent it to me, I have not seen anybody else highlight this interview, this clip. This was earlier this week, and it was Draymond Green on Rich Kleiman. Is that his name? Kevin Durant's agent, business partner. Together, they collaborate for the Boardroom, which is like a media entity that includes like this podcast and TV show. In the chat, California made 92. And side note, really quickly before I forget, Bay 415 area, thank you for becoming a Golden Dazer. Thanks for supporting the program. I'm going to come up with some sort of system as a additional reward for the Golden Dazers. Maybe give you all like a discount an extra discount from the merch store or something like that. The holidays are coming. We've got some awesome gift ideas in that store. But again, Bay 415 area, thank you. Armando, thank you, brother. I know you're a Golden Dazer as well. California May 92 is writing, I wonder why nobody ever talked about Draymond Green admitting that Steve Kerr didn't know how to utilize Kuminga all these years. And this clip, I haven't played this on the show yet, and I'm thankful now that I didn't because you're here for it, is fascinating. And all it does is yet again substantiate everything we're saying on this show about Steve Kerr as the head coach. Maybe being a little overrated, maybe not knowing how to handle youngsters. And god damn, do I love Draymond Green, dude. Without him, we would have no clue what's going on behind the scenes. We really wouldn't. It would just be a lot more suspicion, a lot less actual knowledge. And Draymond, again, with Rich Kleiman, is that his name? I feel like I'm butchering it. It is? Okay. He was on Rich's show. Side note, that appearance, by the way, kind of washes another ridiculous narrative that Kevin Durant left the Warriors because of Draymond Green. No, he didn't. He left because of Steve Kerr. And that was reported some months ago as the reason why he denied a trade for him to come back to the Warriors. It was because of Steve Kerr, the coach, the man that we repeatedly say on this show is grossly overrated and is responsible for as many negatives that happened to this team as much as all the positives from 12 years ago. So anyways, Draymond was on Rich's show. Again, Kevin Durant's business partner. Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, they have a friendship. That incident back in 2018, 19, whatever that was, in LA against the Clippers, where Draymond started yelling at Kevin Durant on the court at the end of a game. Draymond knew already that Kevin Durant was out. In case you folks forgot, year 3 of Kevin Durant on the Warriors was basically Durant checked out. He'd already decided that he was going to go somewhere else when that season ended. Draymond knew about it. His teammates knew about it. But Draymond is authentic. He keeps that shit real, man, like no one else does. And he wasn't happy about that. But again, that is not what pushed Kevin Durant away. And this is just more evidence of that. And now let's listen from Draymond Green on this guest appearance with Rich Kleiman, explaining more specifically here why Steve Kerr has struggled coaching Jonathan Kuminga. And I think the audio comes out good on this. I didn't realize it would be so small on my screen. Apologies. But here is Draymond Green explaining that relationship and providing some more insight on the Kerr-Kuminga coaching relationship.
Everybody talk about the relationship Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr. And as if all head coach and player relationships are peaches and cream, I'm here to tell you that's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Kuminga is different than any player Steve Kerr has ever coached. That type of athleticism, that skill set at that age, and the demeanor and mindset that Jonathan Kuminga has is a mix of things that Steve Kerr has never had to coach. And to think that, man, after 6 months, you're just going to adjust to that. No, it takes some time to adjust to that, right? And I think he's adjusted and learned this kid, year after year after year, and become more familiar with how to coach him.
Yeah.
But that takes some time when the guys you coached is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. When me and K are a lot alike, right? Like Steph and Klay are a lot alike. Those are coaching completely different people. It takes some time to figure that out. And what I can say is I've watched him put the time in to work at figuring that out. I've watched how much he cared, how much he come to us. That kind of bridges the gap between him and Kuminga, right? Like Steve just turned 60. Kuminga is 22, right? Like I've seen him come to us trying to bridge the gap and understand hey, so what should I be thinking when this thing happened? Or if he says this, or if he's thinking like that, what should what should my response? I've seen him do that work, and so I think when you speak of growth, that is growth, and one to make that thing work. I've watched him put the time in. And so I think he's evolved a ton as a coach, even in his philosophies, our offense, our defense, the things that he's willing to change. I think he's evolved a ton, but in this profession, it'll force you to evolve because the characters are constantly changing. Everybody.
So I love the fact that he drops he's 60, like using that as an excuse for being out of touch. Armando, your reaction to that insanely funny clip, kind of sad as well, basically confirming what we've suspected all along, that Steve Kerr just did not know how to handle a player like Jonathan Kuminga, meaning a player with real talent, but who needed some mentorship, needed some nurturing, needed some real coaching instead of just go out there and play, which is Steve Kerr's basic idea of coaching. Just go out there, just make sure you pass it quickly. Don't hold on to the ball fast, and just go out there and play. That's the Steve Kerr coaching mentality. I'm being malicious there. I apologize. Armando, your reaction. You're muted in case you are muted. Yes, I confirm. There we
go.
Dude,
I don't know how many of you guys were here last Friday, but I went off a little bit how this is an offensive situation. And and I talked a little bit about some of the race stuff going on in the background here, but the only thing that has changed, and all these media types, all these people who don't know ball, all these people that have been shitting on Kuminga, and praising Steve Kerr like, you can't touch him. He's won, 4 rings or whatever. So you're not allowed. No one is allowed to criticize him. He can do no wrong. Like that suddenly Kuminga finally started listening. This was all over ESPN, Tim Bontemps, like, don't even get me started. Finally, JK is doing what the Warriors have asked him to do. I mean, these people, do not watch any basketball at all. They don't even watch like national games. They're like schmoozing and writing during games.
You're talking about the media types who have been criticizing Kuminga?
Yeah, and they're definitely not watching like we have chat for the last 4 years and what the nonsense that's been going on around here. And how everything Steve Kerr does leads to Steph Curry being injured. And like, so the only thing that's changed, it ain't that he suddenly decided to start passing. He's been doing that shit since, did you guys watch him on the Ignite? He was making backdoor passes when he was 18.
Yeah.
And, or he suddenly started deciding to guard, right? Or he suddenly started deciding to rebound. Only 2 things have changed. Steve Kerr got embarrassed in June. And it was pretty sad. He literally DNP'd this guy going into the playing games, and that's what cost them a hamstring. And then it turns out actually JK is an effing man who can score 20 plus points in the hardest moments of a playoff series. Okay, that's embarrassing. And the front office was trying to do damage control because everybody talks about this agent that went, they talk about the summer was so toxic. The agent did this thing. He went online. He went public. No. The person who went public was Steve Kerr. So,
Yeah.
So he was the guy that came out and badmouthed.
That's a good point.
What's
good
that?
point, Armando. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's a good point. Steve Kerr was on a media tour himself. He didn't have to do that.
He went out by himself, no permission from the organization, and went out and badmouth their only asset. That's like, I've been telling you guys, that's like if a Hollywood studio released a major motion picture movie, and then Leonardo DiCaprio went out before the movie released and was like, this movie's terrible, and I can't believe I'm in this movie. Like, but you should go see it. Like that's like you get blackballed when they do that in Hollywood. And so this happened in June, and this was what I'm about to say was reported by Slater. So they were trying to get Kuminga to sign that deal, and Kuminga was rightly upset, like, because of all the trash Kerr talked about him in the public. And they're like, hey, let's sit down in Vegas. It has been reported that Steve Kerr had to offer up, okay, in the beginning of the season, I will try to play you alongside Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. That I will give it a shot at the early part of the season. Tim Kawakami, if you're seeing this, you reported that. You said that he was embarrassed and had to promise JK's camp that. So that's what's happening right now. The only thing that's changed is that Jonathan Kuminga is getting played big minutes with the best players on the team. That's the only thing that's changed. So what happens when you play with the best players and you're not playing with cement feet Kevon Looney, whose man is just double teaming you, and 3 guards? What can you do, guys? Think about it, chat. Think about it. Yeah. Can you get out and play point of attack defense, play a little more aggressive if you got guys behind you? Are you unleashed to go get rebounds and like knowing that someone else can be the help man? Are you willing to make an extra pass because you got guys who can get it in? Like, do you guys play basketball? Like, think about the difference between playing with guys versus not playing with undersized 3-guard guys. That's the only thing that's changed, is the fact that he's playing with the best players on the team. And I've been saying for 4 years, literally just play this guy with Andrew Wiggins and whatever, and it's a championship. And they're doing that now. That's why they're 4-2. The only reason why they have losses is because they're still running Steve Kerr's 3-guard system on the back end of things, and it led to fatigue even in the wins, which is why like they were tired in those losses. So we can get into all that, but chat, before I hand it back to Sai, I don't know if you want to add anything, but I do want to read JK's quotes to corroborate what I was saying.
Read them, yeah.
Yeah,
We're no
so
rush.
chat, this was hidden deep in a Tim Kawakami San Francisco Standard article. The entire article is about how Jonathan Kuminga is maturing. That is so effing offensive. It is.
Yeah.
It totally absolves any wrongdoing from the coach and the organization, and it puts it all on this player who suddenly they were literally talking about his frontal lobe developing in, Fitz and Azubuike, man. I would literally slap the shit out of somebody who said that to me. Like, get out of here with that.
It's insulting.
And,
It's very insulting. Yeah.
Dude, it's so insulting. Like, so they do this interview with him. Like, he suddenly opened his mind because, the old white men provided him with this wisdom so he could suddenly be a smart player. Like, he was like low IQ and now he's high IQ in like 2 months. And so like, but listen to this. JK said in this interview, I remember some of the things I've told Kerr before, like, hey, I'd love you to coach me as hard as you can. Just coach me. Just don't go away from me. Just coach me. No matter the circumstance. I do something bad that I don't need to. Don't go away from me. Come tell me. If you don't tell me in the middle of a game, send somebody. I want the word coming from you. And then he said, if it's not my night, tell me. I won't get mad. I'll be a good teammate, as I've always been. Yeah. I'll support. I'll do stuff to help us win. And then, like, the media member is literally writing this down and presenting it to him. I'm surprised he didn't cut it, to be honest with you. That's how low of an opinion I think of these media people. And if you put together what Draymond just said about Steve Kerr is the one learning to communicate with this player and not Jonathan Kuminga's growth mindset, like, and then Kuminga saying, I've asked the coach to actually effing talk to me. Like, first of all, if I'm the owner of an organization and I hear my prized creative talent say that about the person running it, that's a fireable offense.
Yeah.
But two, if I'm a media member and I say that, I write an effing story about the coach growing, about the coach offering up a mea culpa, about the coach coming with his mindset, his 60-year-old ass, growing. Like, you don't, like, are people not like looking at this stuff? It's ridiculous. You like, this stuff is so out of pocket that the media just ignoring it, and like, it's ridiculous, man. And Steve Kerr, if you're watching this, come and talk to me. I'll tell you all about it. Don't worry about it. I'll give you all the examples of young men of color going through the BS that you put this young man through in any industry. We could talk about it all day. So, I'm here, Steve Kerr. You have my email.
You're literally a public figure as a professor at UC Berkeley. Yeah, your information is public. You're a state employee. I think so is mine as an employee at San Jose State University. Anyways, and we're gonna post the link soon in the chat to bring people on if they have opinions of their own. I wholeheartedly agree with you. A huge, and I've been saying this repeatedly, that a huge part of the problem in general is not as much the fans, many of whom are just either very ignorant about this, very just negative about this unnecessarily, the vitriol that's come from them. But most of that is them being influenced by this media scene that is toxic, dude. And a huge part of the problem is who's making it to these positions, how they're getting there. Tim Kawakami, again, man, there's nothing new about any of this behavior. He's always been very thin-skinned. Him and I used to cross paths in the 2000s in KNBR because he'd come in sometimes as a fill-in host, or we'd call up the San Jose Mercury News, not directly, but he was part of them to book. And Kawakami's always been like just, a standoffish, egotistical. But this is also a crazy, and you and I were having this discussion off the air, or maybe it was over text or something, about my experience with columnists in general. It's bizarre. There's a stereotype that and again, I hope it's just a stereotype, but from my own heuristic experience, it's 100% accurate, which is that columnists are just really stubborn, egotistical individuals who think they're right no matter what. And it's every columnist I've ever experienced, whether it's Kawakami, I mean, who are some of the other columnists? Like my former Locked On partner, Dieter Kurtenbach. Like, he quit the show after like 2 months because he couldn't handle the pushback. It was insane. You look at like Skip Bayless, I think, is like the poster child of the stereotypical columnist. Even though him and I incredibly get along, and I got to try and get him back on the show here. It's been a few years. He joined Rick Barry and I some years back. But Bruce Jenkins, the Ann Killians, like, I can't, I'm sure there's a lot of, and Ann I don't have any relationship with. I don't know. I don't see her writing about the Warriors that much, but Bruce Jenkins is another one who I used to revere in terms of his writing style. He used to entertain the shit out of me. His 3-dot column. He came out with an opinion some years back where he insisted that the Golden State Warriors did not. That the pursuit of 73 wins in the regular season was not costly, meaning that them chasing 73 wins had nothing to do with them losing the NBA Finals. And I not only did not agree with that sentiment, but I interviewed Leandro Barbosa. Right? Am I pronouncing that? It sounded weird when I said that for some reason. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. But Barbosa, I asked him that. I'm like, Leandro, like, did your pursuit of 73 wins that season, was there any regret behind that? Like, and did it play a factor in you guys maybe not being at full strength and having all the energy that maybe you needed to beat Cleveland in that 7-game series? And he fully admitted it. And I think it's actually on the Golden Days YouTube channel. I think it's way deep in the archives, that interview that he did with myself and Rick Barry, where he fully admitted it. He's like, yes. We talked. He said they talked about it. There was regret, and that they did feel a mental and physical wear and tear from that 73 win pursuit. And in hindsight, they probably would have done it differently so that they felt better in that series. I literally presented that evidence to Bruce Jenkins. I'm like, look, literally a player himself is saying that the pursuit of 73 wins might have cost them. They regret it. And Bruce Jenkins responds, I still think I'm right. And again, this was back in like 2018 or something like that. And that was like my exclamation point on believing that columnists are just a different breed. And maybe they get those positions because of how weird they act. Ray Ratto is another one, right? And I've always had good interactions with Ray Ratto, but he's another one of these surly, stubborn, like, my opinion's the only right opinion. They all feel like this. They all act like this. It's really bizarre. Sadly, though, when it comes to the Warriors coverage, this goes beyond just columnists. It's just, there is just this good 4/5 of the media contingent, maybe even more than, maybe 4/5 is understating the real number, but they act in this subservient manner. Everyone saw Danny Emmerman when he was on this show, just shocked that I actually had the audacity to criticize Steve Kerr. Sam Gordon was on this show, and he's going to be back tomorrow. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, can you just say one negative thing about Steve Kerr? He couldn't. He wouldn't. It was crazy. This is not right. It is not ethical. If you go into the media game, the last thing you should be focused on is what other people think about you, what other people think about your coverage. The only focus you should have is my work accurate? Is my work correct? Is my work objective? And if you're a columnist, you better be asking yourself, are my opinions educated? Are my opinions reinforced with evidence? And that's not the ethos we see. The ethos that we see from the vast majority of these media clowns, and it isn't just legacy. I'll call out these light years clowns as well. I think they're directly responsible for all this vitriol directed toward Jonathan Kuminga. When you see people doing death threats towards him, and you hear all the bullshit these clowns are talking, like, I had people coming to me last year saying, dude, these Lightyear guys are saying that Jonathan Kuminga's trainers, they know him personally, and his trainers are the reason why Kuminga is not developing. Are you out of your effing mind? Sophia Jones was my co-host. She shares the same trainer as Jonathan Kuminga. I couldn't believe hearing this shit. Yet that's what easily half of this fan base listens to. And this is, again, why I cannot emphasize enough that if you want to increase your IQ when it comes to the Warriors, you're in the right place. If you want to dumb your IQ down, go listen to these other clowns. And I've had people like defend some of these other shows like, well, they come off like you can maybe have a beer with like Sam Esfandiari, whatever the F you pronounce his name. And I've had interactions with that guy. I never got that feel. I got the impression I got was, oh, look, another arrogant asshole who thinks every opinion is right, just like a columnist. It's mind-blowing to me, consumer behavior in terms of what media people go to. And maybe ultimately a huge part of the problem with a show like this is we are honest. Honesty isn't always positive. Objectivity isn't always happy. And maybe sometimes people are coming to the media scene to escape some of the negatives of reality. And they come here and not everything about the Warriors is positive. Like, again, because that's part of being truthful. But nonetheless, again, if you are a media member and you're selling out by preferring to give positive coverage that necessarily is not accurate, I'm saying shame on you. Like you're doing a piss poor job. And I hope that our program wipes you the F off this planet in terms of just existing as a media member. You're failing miserably at your job. That is my criticism to you. And when I say you, I mean all these media types here in the Bay Area. And it's also national as well. It's also like the Nate Duncans, for example. It's also that guy with Yahoo Sports who used to be with the Ringer. And he's like now their main NBA guy. I forgot his name. Is it Kevin something? He bashes Kuminga. Like, he wrote a whole detailed article about how analytics shows that Kuminga is not a good player. Dude, and I read this story and they frame things a certain way to make their opinions look valid. And all these assholes are now trying to save face and come out publicly and come up with excuses like you mentioned with Kawakami. Oh, Kuminga's now figuring it out. Like, magically 3 months ago, he didn't have it figured out. Are you out of your mind? Do you really think human beings just evolve and change this quickly at the drop of a hat? No, he's getting minutes. We've been saying on the show from day one, 30 minutes or more. Great things happen when Kuminga plays. Huge effing surprise. He's playing and great things are happening. And again, if anything, I should probably thank all these other hosts and writers and media types for making us look good, because they're just so bad at the job they're doing. It's embarrassing. It really is. And I apologize if I came off really harsh there, but I would rather be honest than, again, play this bullshit diplomatic game or this bullshit, like, I want to make, the higher ups happy so that people like me. Like, that never should be the attitude you come into the media game with, because that ain't journalism. That's you just basically, tap dancing on a stage. You're a clown. You're a joker. You're a jester. I'm sorry. Like, and if that's what you want to do, again, more power to you. But I'm going to call your ass out, because sometimes your jester comments are directly affecting these human beings who are athletes. And the way Kuminga was treated was absurd. It was inaccurate. It was wrong. And anything you want to add to that, Armando?
No, I mean, I've railed against our local media, and I'm sure we'll do it soon. I mean, I would love to look. I mean, the prediction was like, if they play Kuminga 30 minutes with the starters, they're going to do a lot of winning, and that's true. But I do want to talk about how they're playing 3-guard lineups off the bench, and it's costing them leads, and it's costing Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry to come back in and have to try really freaking hard to make it up. And the fatigue builds. The coach is already talking about fatigue game 5. Like, I'm looking at Draymond Green, and he's having to play playoff level intensity just for this team to stay afloat. That's what I'm seeing. And, chat, I've talked a lot about how we watch games, and I just want to give a shout out. We posted our third Sprewell Was Right YouTube video. It actually got, there was no edits. we didn't have the sound on, and I messed up the crop, but I think I cropped out the logo. But it was like a 55-minute video, and we watched the entire Clippers win, and we commented on every play. So we're not hiding from these wins. And what we saw, I mean, it was a lot of great stuff with those starters, but you know, they are bringing in. We could talk about. I don't even know where to start. I'm so overwhelmed with how much problems are. But you know, I encourage you guys to check it out, because the way we watch defense, it has nothing to do with whether the basketball goes in the hoop. If you watch defense, if you declare a defender did a good job, whether the ball went into the hoop or not, you don't know what you're talking about with basketball. And that's why a lot of these stats, like these counting stats, even the high level ones that are like, you know, what's the percentage this person is scoring against his player? What's the percentage of is this person shooting when, you know, there's a semi contest or a hard contest? Like, it's not really that accurate because it doesn't understand the context and the evolution of the game. And the way we watch basketball defense is what was the effort level of the offensive player to get that bucket? You know, when you're playing basketball,
Yeah.
and you do score on a great defender, but you really had to dig deep. You had to use your entire body energy to get that bucket, and you scored. That means that was great defense, because that's going to affect me on the next play down. That means the next time I have an open shot, my legs are just that much more tired. Did the defender sometimes guys just they're in the right place, okay? And this happened to Horford a lot, and those 5 threes in the fourth quarter that the other team said, it was like, oh, look, you know, stupid ass Fitz is like, oh, Horford played great D. He's like right there contesting the shot. No, he wasn't. And this is what I'm always talking about with Pods. Like, when Pods closes out on a 3-point shooter, they're in the right place. We call this chair defense. It's like when a chair is in the right place, right? When you're in a gym practicing, it's chair defense. But the other thing we look at is the comfort level. What is the comfort level of the offensive player attacking this person? And what we saw in the fourth quarter against the Bucks is a bunch of scrubs on Milwaukee, and a scrub coach, to be honest, have an easy job of it. Doc Rivers coaching is like, dude, just get Horford in the action.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just set a pick on Pods, or whoever Horford's man is guarding, send his man up to set a pick and get him in the action. That's how you target in 2025. And the reason is because it is a weak spot in the defense. They want no part of Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. They don't even want a piece of Stephen Curry. They don't want that. Horford is in the right place, but there's no chance that he's going to bother that shot, make anybody uncomfortable. When he's at the rim, it's just, we call him the broomstick in our household. Mm-hmm. It's like holding a broomstick up. There's no chance it's going to deter the shot. And the comfort level is high, extremely high, even when he's in the right place. Those step back threes that looked hard, that was easy shots for an NBA player. Like, it is not hard to hit threes in the NBA in 2025.
Yeah.
You have to be a gamer to be able to play that kind of defense. And I'm sorry, chat, but like, sorry, I'll let you cut in before.
No, keep going. You're good. You're fine. Yeah. You're good.
So that's Horford, and we saw that against the Clippers. He really effed that Clipper game up.
Remember early in that Clippers game, he had like a minus 25, and then it was something. He had an atrocious net rating early in the game that he regrouped and made it look a sensible. I think if he finished with a minus 10, but you're right, Al Horford, even in that Clippers game, did not look good.
You know, like the end of the third quarter against the Clippers, that lineup with him, it was so like just layup line. Like it didn't. And he was the center. And what I saw the most was that Zubac came out and literally just tapped him with his ass. and got a rebound and just laid it up over like twice. And they actually had to call a timeout, and Horford was like frustrated. He cannot play center with 3 guards. The only time he could maybe play center is if he's playing with Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, Draymond. Then maybe, but we saw last night that is not going to cut it if there's guards that can get it in, because they're just going to isolate him. But he needs protection when he's out there. He has to play alongside TJD, and he has to play alongside post. Like I said in the summer, they signed another power forward. So they gave up that lead in the third quarter, and the Clippers cut it to 7, and then they had to bring everybody back in, and we won. It was great, but that's fatigue. I noted that fatigue was going to come back around. Last night, at the end of the second quarter, we had a lineup, or it was the starters went out, and then we had the lineup: Horford, Jimmy Butler, Moses Moody, Ryan Rollins, and Pods. Okay. And then later on, it was Buddy Hield for Moses Moody. Okay. So I want to talk about this for a second. That's the lineup that completely gave up the lead. We were down by 10 plus going into the back when the starters had to come back in the second quarter. You can literally watch the 3-guard lineup problem by looking at how Coach Kerr is playing Will Smith, or what's his name?
Will Richard?
Will Richards. Yeah, my bad. Everybody's talking about that kid. It looks good. Just look at how many guards he's out there with. The dude is a guard. And when they were playing the lineup in the middle of the second quarter of Podziemski, Will Richards, Guy Santos, and I think it was Butler and Draymond, that bench unit was lights out. They actually caught back up. They went from 10 to like 3 or 2 before JK came back in and Steph came back in. That's a lineup with size. Will Richards he has positional size at the 2, and frankly, so does Podziemski. Podziemski has positional size as a backup point guard. You know, he can play 20 minutes as a backup point guard and actually be bigger. That's why he did good against the Clippers, because he was roasting 40-year-old 5'8" Chris Paul, who frankly we won that Clippers game because Chris Paul is that much worse than Al Horford. They just had an even worse problem they were playing. That's why we won that game. But you know,
I mean, look, CP3, by the way, when you're getting blocked by Brandon Podziemski like that, time to rethink your career. Maybe it's time to start wrapping it up, if you will. Armando, I don't mean to I'm sorry to cut you off here, but I wanted to the Milwaukee Bucks social media team was on fire last night, and I wanted to. Do you think now is a good time to show these clips real quick about Horford, or did you want to finish real quick what you were saying? I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
So, this is actual video evidence. And look, man, if you're not watching this live, there might be a possibility that you will not see these. It's on my Twitter account @SurfJournalist. If you want to see it there, I would have done it on Threads, but teams like the Bucks, media entities, they're not producing multimedia content there yet at the clip and the rate that you see it on Twitter. So until that happens, this is the platform I'm doing all this. But the reason why I say all that is the Bucks, they published, I think, 20 to 25, somewhere in that range, video highlights of all of their incredible scoring plays. That's how many of them there were, side note. But it also gave at least me a chance to evaluate defensively, like on film, easily every defensive breakdown and the why and how of the Bucks scoring as much as they did. And again, if you want to see all this, I literally just did like a detailed video analysis, like what you'd probably normally see on a YouTube channel, just on my Twitter feed. And I'll show you these 4 plays specifically. And this is where the game ended, because when I play you this first highlight, and again, there's going to be 4 of them, and all 4 of these highlights are Al Horford failing with perimeter defense. And there were a lot of failures defensively in this game last night and otherwise. But this is particularly egregious because The score at this point was 98-96. It was only a 2-point game. In Al Horford's defense, the score was 98-93 before he made his 1 3-pointer in the game off a Jonathan Kuminga assist. So maybe he deserves a little credit for that. But then these next 4 plays happened almost consecutively, and they were all with Al Horford failing defensively. And I'll show you what I mean right now. We'll start with this first play here. This is AJ Green, simple sidestep.
Buckets against the Bucks. I mean, timely for him, but untimely for Bucks fans. Oh, parents!
So when Al Horford is defending you, all you have to do is sidestep and you're golden. We fast forward a little bit further. Al Horford defending again.
Junior, 2 to shoot, 1 to shoot. Trent Junior pulls money.
And so that's Gary Trent sidestepping. So apparently, as long as Al Horford's defending you, all you have to do is sidestep.
And look at the blitz. The blitz screen.
Wide open 3. Fast forward again. Al Horford defending.
Who's trying to get there?
Steph has got the last 6 points. Ryan Rollins.
So Ryan Rollins, all he had to do was step back for a wide open 3. Let's fast forward. Al
We've seen
Horford
that here
again
in the second half.
defensively.
Rollins gets it to Turner. 1 dribble.
One more time.
And look at the blitz screen.
We've seen that here in the second half. Rollins gets it to Turner. 1 dribble.
Wide open. So that was 4 3-pointers in a row when the game was just within 2. And you could guess that right after that, and again, really easy saying that was a rhythm shot. Okay, fine. You excused 1 out of 4 threes that were dropped on Al Horford playing defense. And that is not a good look. Not a good look for Al Horford to have 4 3-pointers dropped on you in a span of like 2 or 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. Money Checkup is asking, what do you want him to do? Get off the ground? Here's what I want him to do. Force the player to drive. You're 6'9". 3 of those 4 highlights involve players shorter than him. So make sure you prevent an easy, wide open 3-point look. That's what I want him to do. Maybe Money Checkup's being sarcastic here by saying get off the ground, like because Al Horford can't jump in general. Point is, and apologies if I missed the joke there, but point is, Al Horford, not a good look for him there. His box score, again, a -20 in net rating last night for damn good reason. And there was like 20 of those. But the reason why I highlighted those 4 Al Horford clips is because they were consecutive, back to back to back to back. And it went, and the game went from, again, being 98-96. And then when Al Horford finally came out of the game and was substituted for, I think the Warriors finished with a small ball lineup. Let me see when Horford came out of the game exactly. I'm looking at the play-by-play. When did that substitute? Oh, at the 2:07 mark, Brandon Podziemski came in the game for Al Horford. The score by that point was 117-106. So the game went from being within 2 points to being within 11. Now, look, Ryan Rollins, I know you're agreeing with me, so I apologies for missing the sarcasm there initially. But ultimately, look, man, Al Horford and Podziemski was guilty of this as well. I mean, if I'm going to be playing highlights, I'll play you one more. And this is an example of Brandon Podziemski, his defense, in terms of what he has to stop doing, and that is not allowing easy 3-point looks. We are at a point in the NBA where if you're going to play defense, make the difficult look the 3-point look. Let the other player have an easy 2 instead of an easy 3, because they're all making it at a clip and a rate that's too accurate to allow these wide open looks. And here's what Podziemski does all too often, and then I'll be done playing highlights, and I hope, again, I'm not forced to hide all these or edit them out. So this is Podziemski, and he does this a lot, and he has to stop doing this, and this is where he needs to be coached on this. He lets players, he gives them space at the 3-point line. Stop giving him space. Here's Podziemski.
Down, Torian Prince and Kuminga.
Oh,
so we're playing 4
wide
on
open.
4.
No hands up.
Anthony.
Get your hands up, man. Look at this. Look at this again. Brandon Podziemski, just watching him with your hands down. I learned in 3rd grade, always have your arms up and your hands up, It's defense 101. Look
Down,
at
Torian Prince and Kuminga.
Wide open. You play with Stephen Curry, who has the quickest release in the game. Why are you letting that happen? Armando, your thoughts?
Yeah, so
sorry.
No, I got you. Like, I ended with Will Richards. He looks great when he's playing the shooting guard because he has positional size. But when he's moved down, the moment he moved down to small forward, that unit started getting torched again. It's so clear, Chad. I'm just trying to train you guys to look for that. And those clips you showed is exactly what I'm talking about. To the untrained eye, that looks like good defense because the broomstick is literally contesting the shot, right? That's actually counted as a contested shot in those stupid statistics. But that's why I'm saying, like, don't ever trust that stuff. In reality, that is a comfort shot. There's either a 6'9" slow and athletic person who has to give you a little bit of a beat because you can get by him. So he's not going to really bother your shot. That this small 6'4" guy who's probably actually like 6'2", but the hair is there, who has T-Rex arms for the NBA, like they're not going to bother your shot. So that's what, when we watch, it doesn't matter if we look at the comfort level, like a player has a ball on the 3-point line. He's like, what should I do? What should I do? Should I drive on Podziemski? Should I pass it? No, let me just shoot it. Yoink. And then it's a splash. Like that's like, everybody's like, the offense doesn't have to think when you do it. You're not a terrible coach like Doc Rivers doesn't have to game plan to the next level. Like nobody's stressed. They're not putting pressure on anybody. It's literally like, hey, attack that weak spot. That's it. That's all you got to do, and we can win the game. And I'll talk about Pods. We talk about him every week. I'm going to continue to talk about him. So
it's deserved because again, the minutes. That's what it comes down to. Like we have a contrarian in our chat, or maybe he's just a Kerr, or she, or is just a Kerr / Podziemski, and by default, that means you're a Podziemski defender saying, "Show Draymond, former defensive player of the year. Show Kuminga, who's might arguably be the team's best defender right now. So Dre and Jimmy. What this person's trying to say is that happens to everybody. Does it? I'm only playing you the highlights that were available courtesy of the Milwaukee Bucks. And so if you want to find highlights of those things happening, more power to you. But the difference between Draymond, Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, and Podziemski is that those other three players are doing a lot of other things statistically that are at least making up for maybe them sagging at the 3-point line. And on a side note, I have been criticizing Draymond Green as well for doing similar things this late in his career. That is the one chink, I think, in Draymond Green's armor defensively at the age of 36 or 35. He turns 36, I think, in March, where he's also sagging at times, but they're at least doing a million other things to make up for it. Brandon Podziemski is averaging 29 minutes and change, 12 points per game, 2.6 assists per game. If your defense is not elite and offensively you're putting up mid numbers, what the hell are you doing out there? And I've tried to be conservative about this when it comes to the Podziemski criticism, but it's hard. It's getting to a point where, like, I'm seeing again, Moses Moody, I think, should be ahead of him. I'm ready to say Guy Santos should be ahead of him. I'm convinced more and more that Podziemski's incredible net rating figures that his defenders will always revert to. He did lead the team in net rating 2 years ago. I think it was second or third on the team last year. But look at who Podziemski plays with to get those net rating figures. And the fact that this year he's not having his minutes matched up with Steph every step of the way should be revealing to each and every one of you that those net rating figures are a cloud of smoke, hiding the fact that Podziemski is just getting those numbers because of Steph. He's surrounded by the Warriors' best players always, and so he gets these insane net rating numbers. This season, he's coming off the bench half the time, And all these negative net rating numbers that all the Kuminga haters pointed to last year, like, look at his net rating, bro. Yeah, look at Podziemski's net rating now. And you'll see that sometimes it depends, or not sometimes, most of the time, it depends largely on who the other 4 players are around you to produce these net rating figures. And this leads to some numbers that we pulled up here pertaining to the best and worst lineups net rating wise.
All right, can I say a word on pods before you move on?
Yeah, please go ahead. I'll set that up while you talk. Yeah.
So like I obviously rail on his 3-point closeout. Remember last Friday we were talking about trying to come up with a nickname for Pod's 3-point closeouts, like like just blowing Pod by him. But the thing what are we doing here, man? Like,
I don't know.
This team is so close to a championship run.
Yes.
That's why it's so frustrating, because they're right there. They're almost there. They have the guy. They have the guy that can take us over the top. And he's not playing with the guys. Just like Jonathan Kuminga is he's a ceiling raiser, not a floor raiser. He's a ceiling raiser playing next to the guys. The same as with Moses Moody. If you put Moses Moody at the shooting guard next to those guys, we're winning by 30 every night. And I'll stand on that. And like, lights out. And the game would be so damn easy for for Steph Curry. I don't know what are we building to with investing so much capital, energy, time, attention on trying to turn Podziemski into a 35-minute playoff performer. I get that he can have a game or two here, but like when it's against regular guys in the NBA that are actually trying hard, like not G leaguers that are out there, not 5'8", 6 foot point guards that are not going to be playing in the playoffs. Like, he's not putting pressure on anybody. Like when he gets a bucket, like when he does his little drives or whatever, the defense, there's no pressure. This is what I'm talking about with like not analyzing the outcome, but analyzing the fatigue level of the team. Like, and actually I've said this about Kyrie Irving for years. Kyrie Irving can pound the ball out the floor, but it's losing basketball. He could score like crazy because the other team is literally resting while he's doing that. And they're getting their legs down the line. They're able to make shots that they wouldn't otherwise make. That's what's happening when Pods is out there. Like, whoever's guarding him is just resting. In the Memphis game, like, Ja was literally asleep guarding Podziemski, and Podziemski was able to like get behind him and get some nice action. And because Ja him and Triple J just like literally could not give a F about that game. And it was so funny to me listening to Warriors fans, the loss against Portland say, oh, that's just because we were tired. That's right. That is because we were tired. And then Memphis comes to town and they had just played 3 games in 4 nights. And then you bring up fatigue on Memphis's side and people are like, no, I don't think so. It's like, you guys need to like tell it like it is on both sides of it. It don't matter. Like, being a fan doesn't help you explain what's happening. Yeah. Podziemski, like, he hits a 3 in the first quarter or whatever. And then he immediately throws the ball into the stands. And like, that's just a net neutral. Like, nothing happened. Like, nobody gives a shit when this guy makes a crazy boneheaded play. Like last week I called it the watching Pods play sometimes is like when you're playing NBA 2K and you accidentally hit the wrong button on the Xbox controller, like, just spazzes out and nobody cares. Guy Santos makes a mistake, out. Moses Moody makes a mistake, out. And
on that note, real quick, another highlight, because again, the Bucks were on fire. Someone in the chat here, I'm sorry, Jamie U22, forgive me if I got that wrong, saying that Quentin Post got what is typically known as the Kuminga treatment, meaning one mistake and you're yanked and you're out, instead of Kerr letting players play through mistakes. I don't know if Quentin Post actually got that treatment last night. Maybe he did. I just don't remember the specific play. But there is a specific play for Guy Santos. And again, the Bucks were just Like, it's insane. I wish the Warriors did. I don't see as many highlights like this from the Warriors account, but maybe the Bucks were just so excited with Giannis out that they went crazy, or maybe there was just this many highlights. But this was a foul on Guy Santos, and I bring this up because Guy played in the first half, and he played, I think, 4 minutes and change, and they were positive minutes, literally, net rating wise, and he's not someone again who's going to light up the box score. Everyone loves to talk about Brandon Podziemski being that hustle guy, right? He's out there because he hustles. Guy Santos doesn't, and this one play I think is why we never saw him again, because Guy Santos did not come back after his one stint out there. I want to see more Guy Santos minutes, and I think this play is what cost him ever coming back. It was one foul, and again, Steve Kerr, certain players he has patience with, certain players it's just like yank immediately just with a string, and this is a problem. This is bad coaching from Steve Kerr.
Prince driving the box. Oh!
And I think that foul on Taurean Prince, is why Guy Santos, it was a +1. It was a nitpick foul. I looked at that thing like 10 times to see where the actual foul was, and maybe it was just a slight hip check. I don't know, but Guy Santos was gone after that. We never saw him again. And again, please forgive me if you're watching the recorded version of this and everything's missing with these highlights, because YouTube can be very nitpicky about what they flag and don't flag. X-Man, no, that was not on Dre. That was on Guy Santos in terms of the foul. Unless you're insinuating that Dre actually committed the foul. Here, I'll play it again, just in case anyone if for whatever reason doesn't believe with their own eyes what we're all seeing. Here's that foul again on Guy Santos. And he left the game soon after that. We never saw him again.
Prince driving the box. Oh!
I don't know where the foul on Dre was, unless you're talking about the very beginning of the play. But the foul was called on Guy Santos, and he got taken out right after that. So,
look,
again,
you know, Guy, Will Richards, you know, GP2, like that stuff's critical. Like, who's playing? Is it a 3-guard lineup or is it a 2-guard lineup? That's literally the only thing that matters with the giving up those leads. Like, if Guy's playing the more of the three, like 18, 20 minutes at the 3, man, you don't need Gary Payton out there at the 3 for defensive purposes. He's getting roasted. GP2 is getting roasted at the 3, but play GP2 as the 2-guard with only one other guard, he's going to be a defensive force. And it's the same problem.
Fair. Good point.
You know, and you know, what are we doing here with Pods? Like, fine, play him 18, 20 minutes as the backup point guard with only one other guard. Then he has size. But we need to build to the playoffs our highest ceiling lineup. That's the whole point of this season. We can't be giving up leads so that Steph Curry has to, juice up that hamstring to get the lead back. And you know, one other thing, like, I really don't get it. Like, why no one's calling it out in the media. I get that occasionally he has like the 20-point game. He hits those threes or whatever. Pods is really good at the hand grenade shots, like when the pressure's off and he just has to shoot the step back, you know, and he occasionally hits wide open shots the defense is planning to give him. And so people get really excited about him and all his defenders come out. But so the thing is, y'all just saw a guard that we gave up in a trade light it the F up.
Oh, Ryan Rollins.
It is not that hard in the NBA in 2025 to find a guard in the second round who can hit wide open shots and actually play better D.
And just to remind people, Armando, Bob Myers paid, well, it was Joe Lacob's cash, but they paid cash to move up like 5 spots in the second round to draft Ryan Rollins. Like, Bob Myers saw something there that he really liked, and then they gave him away like just, like a bag of potato chips.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
My guess is Steve Kerr was playing him as a small forward with 2 other guards, so it was like hard. I don't really remember, but that'd be my guess. And like, he's playing point guard for this team, so he's lighting it up. And like, what I'm saying is that people give Pods credit for when, he's got to shoot 43, 45% to even be on the floor. He's got to be like a a Kyle Korver type shooter to make up for that atrocious defense. But barring that, like, I don't get, people ask me like, oh, do you see had a good game? Like, no, he's adequately hitting wide open shots as any guard would. Like, I don't give any credit for that. So what I'm looking at is, can you do that and still have the legs to play defense? And are you playing 110% in the regular season just to be on the court? Are you going to have the ability to level up when it comes to playoff basketball? 2 different leagues. So, that's my whole thought on pause. We should probably move on because there's a few other things we need to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. Oh my God, it's already 8:15. Can you go a little longer, or is that a hard out?
Probably like 8:35. I gotta go.
All right. So we're pushing it. Okay, and again, Podziemski averaging 29 minutes per game on the season, putting up 11.7 points per game, 2.7 assists per game. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If any night, win or lose, if Podziemski gives his team 5 assists, I'll shut up. All right. And truth is, like, I do think long term there's a role for this kid. Like, I'm not like down on Podziemski in the sense like they wasted a draft pick on him. He's a bust. I just think he's grossly misused. I think he gets way too many minutes. And I think at some point in the future, he can be this team's starting point guard, but you better surround him with 4 awesome players so that he can do his thing, and his weaknesses are overshadowed by better players. Like, what I'm trying to say is let's say 3 years from now, we're in the next generation of Warriors basketball, and your lineup is Podziemski at the 1, Will Richard at the 2, Moses Moody at the 3, Kuminga at the 4, and let's say Quentin Post at the 5, or Trace Jackson Davis at the 5, hypothetically speaking. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think those 5 can actually produce and deliver solid basketball. But we're talking about 2025. We're talking about the present, and 29 plus minutes a game for this kid. It's outrageously egregious. I'm strongly appreciative that at least he's coming off the bench routinely. But I just don't think he deserves this type of role. He is a role player. I agree with you wherever you are, Desario. He is a role player. So treat him as such, Steve Kerr. Give him 10 to 15 minutes a night. Max. More than that. And again, it's a misappropriation of player minutes. And that is Steve Kerr's single biggest source of power, is minute distribution, minute allocation, deciding who plays when. Stop with this bullshit quick trigger on certain players. Stop with the double standard of friendly treatment toward Podziemski. Either treat everyone equally and or play everyone the right amount of minutes depending on talent. This is the part that just blows my mind, is he does not routinely play the 5 best players on his team. He's focused on his subjective image of what the best fit is. And routinely, that's wrong, man. And it's a source of my ire. So here are the net rating figures that in the NBA. And I want to start first and foremost with the top 5 NBA lineups, just NBA as a whole. Armando, we lost your visual for a second. I just hope you're still there.
Yeah, so, I'm a blackout for just a quick second.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll keep talking. So we'll start with the NBA as a whole. These are your top 5 NBA lineups based off net rating. This is where net rating becomes very objective, right? Because you're talking about 5. It's all 5 people out there. The net rating they produce, that is literally the advantage that group of 5 had over the competition. And the numbers are very interesting here because the number 1 rated team in the NBA right now, the most winning a 5-man lineup in the NBA right now, is courtesy of the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo, this player Drew Smith, who came out of nowhere and is getting a hell of a run with them right now. Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, and Fontecchio. I'm not making any of this up. 32 minutes they played together. They are a plus 46. Which is number 1 right now in the NBA. We'll see if it lasts, but at the moment, approximately 6 games in, depending on your team, the Miami Heat have the winningest 5-man lineup. Number 2 is just as kooky. The Utah Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, Svi, Walker Kessler, Keontae George, Filipowski, I apologize, They played 46 minutes together, and they're a plus 38. I guarantee you didn't have in your bingo card who's going to be the top 2 with net rating in the NBA on Halloween night was going to be the Miami Heat and the Utah Jazz. Yet there you go, insanity. Number 3, and it's a 3-way tie, and the Warriors have a lineup in there in the mix. Steph, Dre, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga. They played 44 minutes together. They are a plus 29. Excuse me. And that is tied with the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, Vassell, Castle, Champagny, and Harrison Barnes. They played 61 minutes together, and they are a plus 29. Side note, the Shea Serrano interview is up and available. Would love your feedback on that, or just hope you enjoy it. And tied for third as well, the Boston Celtics have a 5-man lineup of Jalen Green, Derek White, their center Kada, Pritchard, and Hauser. They have played 26 minutes together, and they are a plus 29. So Armando, we'll start there. What is your reaction to that 5 in terms of the best 5-man lineups in the NBA? I think that is some wild ass shit.
Dude, I mean, I love this. This doesn't give me an opportunity to talk about what I'm really excited about what the Warriors are doing right now, and like why I'm, I feel like there's a chance for a championship ring because I really like what I'm seeing. And Jimmy Butler, chat, is just a master, an absolute master at knowing where to target on offense, finding the mismatch. There was a moment last night where Kuminga had a weak player on, or a weak player on him, and Jimmy got the ball and told Kuminga to get into an ISO situation. And in that moment, he actually waved Steph Curry off to go stand and to go spread the floor in the corner. And Jimmy, when he gets into the right place, he attacks his man, to get the foul grifting stuff, and it works. He is an absolute master. And I'm so impressed with Jimmy's ability to find the weak spot in an offense. And chat, this is the Jimmy Butler offense right now. And it ain't, over the summer I was criticizing the most predictable offense in the league, the motion offense. Like, everybody knew what was happening. It was not it was totally easy. Steph Curry was lucky to get an open shot in that scenario. It ain't 2022 anymore. The league has changed. And like, they spam Steph Curry and Jonathan Kuminga pick and rolls both ways. Sometimes it's JK as a handler, sometimes it's Steph as a handler. There was a moment in the Clipper game, the Clipper win. Man, they did it over and over in the fourth quarter, and it's lights out, man. Like, that's just they're just playing the way they play in the playoffs. Like, they don't run no motion in the playoffs. And like, people still say like dude, they still run this motion to get Steph open. Like, actually, every team in the league does that. Every team in the league sets back picks. Every team in the league runs curls. Every team in the league does this stuff. Like, yeah, they do a little like relocation, which is unique to Steph. He's got that. But like, the offense now is pick and roll, target the man. And dude, like, I freaking love it. That they are playing. That starting lineup with Kuminga is playing the way that I have been asking them to play for 4 years, in the way I outlined it to you guys over the summer. Like, play 30 minutes of these guys, these 4 guys. They are the center of the universe, and everybody else should be in orbit around them. Steve Kerr literally said, we're going to start pods or quit and post, and fit in depending on the second. That's exactly what I was talking about. They need to be doing. The orbit is around those 4 guys. And, he's a dumb F for not being Moses Moody. But then I said, look, if they do that, it's not going to look like the offense Steve Kerr wants it to be. It will look different. And that's a good thing, because that motion offense is the blender doesn't exist anymore. The blades are dull, as I've been saying.
Yes, sir.
And so I love, it don't matter who that fifth guy is. It could probably be Horford, to be honest, and they would still win. Like, that 4 is elite.
Yeah,
And
it is. It is.
like, dude, so when I'm watching games, it's like, dude, this 4 is so good. This could be a 30-point win over at the third quarter, but it's not. It's not, because of they still got this little bit of this go home in a body bag program, man.
Well, and this is where, Armando, why I personally am anticipating with the utmost excitement the return of DeAnthony Melton, who's 2.5 weeks away from being reevaluated, and then Seth Curry, the tentative date November 11th for his return. I would take either of those two over Brandon Podziemski. I don't know if I'd take over those two over Moses. I just want Moses Moody to get a real shot. And I'm curious if last night, the thumb injury, because we don't know, there isn't much detail. I'm looking forward to getting Sam on the show tomorrow just to get some more information on Moses Moody's thumb situation, because he had the surgery in the offseason. Everything seemed to be a go. He was not even on the injury report when the game started. So he was on the injury report until right up to game time. And then it just turned to available. Like, it was not a probable anymore. He was good to go. So, but again, he only played 9 minutes. I know he was 0 for 3 from deep. And this is where you get a lot of like ignoramuses just immediately going, dude, he had an awful game, bro. Like, he was 0 for 3 from deep. Yeah, in 9 minutes. Some players need a larger sample size. Some players are deserving of that, because even if their shots off to start a game, at least they're giving you much better defense than the other options out there. But the DeAnthony Melton, I'm anticipating his return, because I think they're going to need that. And at that point, I'm curious to see what Steve Kerr does. Armando, the top 5 Warriors lineups. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So, excuse me for that. The best lineups in terms of the Warriors themselves with 5 players. Number 1 is the one that I already talked about, and this is the one that's number 3 in the NBA as a whole. Steph, Dre, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, 44 minutes together plus 29. The second best lineup, Steph, Dre, Jimmy Butler. Swap out Podziemski for Quentin Post and Jonathan Kuminga. They played 15 less minutes together, but they are a plus 16. Number 3, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post. They played 12 minutes together. They're a plus 16. And I made this a minimum of 10 minutes as a requirement for being listed here, because you have a lot of 5-man units that have played like a minute together, 2 minutes together. So I wanted a little bit of a sample size. Sorry, my voice is scratchy right now. Number 4 on the list, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, Jonathan Kuminga, 14 minutes plus 1. And number 5, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, Brandon Podziemski, and Quentin Post. They played 15 minutes together, and they're even, not a positive, not a negative, just neutral. So those are your top 5. Any thoughts?
Yeah. First, Sai, thank you for producing those. This is the only time I will entertain net rating is 5-man lineups.
Yeah, because it's subjective.
Anytime anybody brings to me, including the Warriors, by the way, Draymond was talking about it the other day, talks about net rating for an individual player, especially from one game, it's a loser stat. It's so meaningless. Anybody who believes in that, like, does not know how context matters in when you play hoops. But all of those lineups at most have 2 guards. It's just wings. It's just wings that can switch, wings that can tip rebounds to each other, wings that bother 3-point shooters. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the one lineup I like in there that was really interesting was Podziemski, Moses Moody, Quentin Post, Draymond, and Butler. That lineup has positional size.
Yes.
Man, do I like that lineup. And I think it's really great to invest minutes in Quentin Post. Like, if you want to develop someone and teach them and actually give them some leeway, like, last night I feel like maybe he didn't hit a couple threes, so he was out the game. Like, forget it. Like, and he was having trouble containing Portis and some of the stuff, but like, man, Horford is like not anywhere near that guy. Like, develop Quentin Post, and they should be developing TJD on the bench. Like, what did I say last week, chat on Friday? I said TJD should be getting 100% of Al Horford's minutes. That's how strongly I feel about this.
Yep.
That's literally what happens. He's not playing games. He's sitting out games, and everybody thinks it's like, oh, that's just what it is. But somebody else is playing those minutes, and TJD is playing those minutes, and they look a lot better. And I just really, we are so close to being the best team in the league. It is right in front of us.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, agreed. Wholeheartedly agree. And that's why I'm still insanely optimistic. For the people wondering or who say in our chat and otherwise, like, you're overreacting, it's only game 6. There is a level of truth to that. I would agree with you in a sense, but when the stakes are this high, when you're in a season where you can legitimately win a championship, in this case a 5th, that would cement the legacy of Stephen Curry as one of the all-time greats, you're putting Steph on Mount Rushmore. It eliminates the debate between him and Magic for who the best point guard is. It makes him literally in the GOAT discussion. Jordan's still the GOAT, but at least there's like a strong level of validity to it. The stakes are insane. And when you're at this level where you're this close to a championship, there's going to be some nitpicking. There's going to be some legitimate concern just from one game, because you don't want patterns to develop and you don't want these weaknesses to be exposed either, especially with a coach like Kerr, who just is sometimes, I've used this word obtuse repeatedly, that people are understanding more and more as each day passes. Real quick, I know you got to run. Just want to mention the net rating stats that are not as objective, but they're fun to talk about. Top 5 Warriors trios. These are threesomes of players. Number 1, Steph, Dre, and Kuminga. They played 119 minutes together. They're a plus 69. Number 2, Steph, Jimmy Butler, and Kuminga. 103 minutes together, a plus 48. Number 3, Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond Green. They played 98 minutes together, a plus 46. Number 4, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga. They played 94 minutes together, a plus 40. Side note, Anthony Slater, who I normally give a ton of credit to, I hope you all noticed by now that he is routinely not a subject of criticism, because I think he does a great job. But I do want to levy a small amount of criticism here. He was on ESPN the other day. There is a theory in academia when it comes to media studies. It's called framing. And the theory goes that every journalist does have an inherent bias. Like, we're human beings. None of us are perfect. And intentionally or not, we're all framing stories from our point of view. And the way Slater framed the trio of Jimmy, Draymond, and Jonathan Kuminga, a trio that Steve Kerr came out last year and just said, I don't see how that works. He only tried it out for 38 minutes last year before he just gave up on it. But Anthony Slater was on, I think, NBA Today, and it was disingenuous for him to add the minutes from the postseason as well. Like, he said they played together something like 73 minutes or something like that. And at first I was like, wait, what? And then it occurred to me, like, he's also including the postseason minutes, but that's irrelevant. The postseason minutes are irrelevant in terms of what led to the decision of DNPing Kuminga and feeling that he wasn't a good fit with these other two. That decision was made from the 38 minutes they played together. And again, when you break it down even more, only 23 of those 38 minutes had Steph involved in it. And then when you added Podziemski as a fifth guy, because you look at the 5-man lineups and it gets even more interesting, they're actually a +2. But Steve Kerr, again, just obtuse. It's maddening sometimes. Anyway, so number and rounding out the top 5 trios here, number 5 is Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Quentin Post, who have played 56 minutes together, and they're a +32. Any thoughts on that, Armando?
Yeah, these are the guys, man. Orbit shifted, or
yes.
Steve Kerr was talking about the the other day he was leaking a Kawakami, and Kawakami made a big deal about it, about how like, oh, it's only working because Draymond and Jimmy are shooting, 50% from three, and kind of insinuating that he could go away from it at any moment. I mean, chat, it was working with Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond Green last year for like the first 10 games, and he went away from it. And I was calling it out then, even though they were winning. It's like they're playing three guards again. They're going to start losing soon. And inevitably, November came around, and it was just the worst ever. So, like, we're not out of the clear yet, guys. I'm really – that's why I keep telling you guys, look at those Will Richards minutes. Is he playing shooting guard or small forward? Is Guy Santos playing small forward? Is Pods playing backup point guard? Is Moses Moody playing shooting guard? Is Gary Payton playing small forward? Is Buddy Hield in 3-guard lineups? Like, those are the things I'm looking at. And, if he expands that, like, we're going south. So has the orbit shifted? I hope it has. I hope it's shifted in the exact way I've been calling for.
And we wrap up the show with this, the top 5 Warriors duos. I did this research as well. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, one of the greatest duos in NBA history. They played 128 minutes together. They were plus 71. Number 2, Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga. They played 125 minutes together. They were plus 62. Number 3, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. They played 142 minutes together. They were plus 44. Fourth is Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler, 113 minutes, and they were plus 44 together. And a two-way tie for 5th between Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga. They played 108 minutes together. They were plus 42. And Draymond Green and Quinton Post, they played 64 minutes together, and they are a plus 42. And yes, those are big net rating numbers for duos this early in the season. Any final thoughts there? And I know you got to run. I'm going to run as well. Any final thoughts as we wrap up Happy Hour Friday?
I saw JK kind of got his knee a little twisted up last night, and I predicted last week that a JK injury. He's having to do so much out there. Like, I talked about why I think JK is the second best player on this team. He's the guy that's expected to do everything, and he's the guy that's expected to do it every night. These other guys are not expected to do that. It's just the stature and the shooting distribution has not caught up to the reality of the situation, but it is slowly changing. Ball don't lie in the NBA, and the ball will find the magnet. And the thing is, Kuminga is having to guard point of attack. He's having to help as a help defender in the same possession, and he's having to get the rebound. How many times have you guys seen Kuminga do those 3 things in one possession? And it's beautiful to watch. You don't, even when his man gets a step on him, like, it's fine. It's all good. Like, when you have size, you don't need to double. That's the key. It's not an emergency situation. It's a wing. It's okay for wings to get a little taken off the dribble. So, I'm just a little worried about that because he's having to do so much. And, he got hurt last year playing the power forward against Triple J, who's got 60 pounds on him. And, I that's one thing I'm worried about. Like, so just keep an eye on that too, chat. That's the last thing.
No, that's absolutely right. And again, Armando, you have a channel on YouTube. It's called Sprewell Was Right. People can follow you on Threads at Mando.
We have fun.
What's up?
We have fun on there. We call it Wine and Watch. We're on episode 3. We killed a couple of bottles against the Clippers, and we just, if you enjoy us pausing for 30 seconds to tell you exactly why the defense was comfortable against somebody like Pods or Horford, and why Chris Paul was like the worst possible choice. Like, we did it. We take the time to do it. So, and we take the time to appreciate Steph Curry too, and those Kuminga pick and rolls. It was beautiful to watch. It was very beautiful.
Agreed. And this is how we're going to end the show. Draymond Green, who I love this man, dude. I really do. For better or for worse, I'm taking all the bad with the good. The Warriors don't win a single championship without this guy. And I can't emphasize enough the punch on Jordan Poole. No excuse for that. But, and this is an important but, the leak is what caused all the damage, not the punch. As ugly as the punch was, that shit happens more often than you think when it comes to sports and professional sports. When you're talking about the most elite athletes on the planet with that much testosterone pumping through your veins, you're going to get altercations. You're going to get physicality. Draymond Green, as we've reported on this show before, dealing with losing the custody of his son just the day before, Dre Jr., who you never saw again, in case you didn't notice. The leak caused so much damage. We still don't know who leaked it. If it didn't leak, who knows what happens that season? I mean, that's talk about a colossal what if. Nonetheless, despite that massive stain, I still love Dre. And I want to end on this note because in case you forgot, in that Grizzlies game, Draymond Green was telling Jaren Jackson Jr. to shut the F up. He was mocking Santi Aldama for the flagrant foul, and he commented on that on the Draymond Green show. So let's hear from Dre, and we'll go out on this note. Here's Dre.
He's a guy who always talks. You know, every time we play them, he talks. He likes to mix it up a bit. You know, I'm all for mixing it up a bit. You know, what I don't like is guys that talk and like act like they want to mix it up, and then you get a little baby foul and you fall out grabbing your neck, grabbing your hair like you did. I just disagree with like front like that, because even if you get the call, you got the flagrant one. All right, cool. Y'all get the ball back and you get 2 free throws. It's almost like you just sold your soul for 2 free throws. You just laid out on the floor, rolling out like you dead just to get up and walk to the bench and walk to the free throw line. What happens is you lose all respect. So now you're a sucker, and we can't unsucker you because you listening to some dumbass coach that's telling you if he foul, you sell it. But now you got to play. And that brother went from a plus 15 to ending the game at a plus 2 after he did that sucker. He made a complete clown of himself, and I also made a clown of him when he missed them 2 free throws.
And Dre, in case you folks missed it, was skipping on the court when he missed that second free throw. It's comedy. Money checkup, by the way. Just again, I never once said it's okay to punch someone if you have a horrible day or event like losing the custody of your child. But I would add, it would be nice if your colleagues at a workplace who are aware of this fact were cognizant enough to not push buttons on someone else. Meaning, Jordan Poole, be a little more aware of your surroundings and don't talk shit to a man who you know can beat the ever-living shit out of you, who you know has some anger issues, and you're going to sit there and crack jokes on him in the middle of a practice. I'm not excusing it, but I'm just saying there's a lot of different facts in this story. And one more time, I will say this with confidence. If it doesn't get leaked, this is not an issue. This would have been swept under the rug. Jordan Poole would not have been upset at the level that he was. Jordan Poole was humiliated. That was his biggest issue with this whole thing. The whole world saw him get cold cocked and knocked to the ground. And that's embarrassing. Okay, there's no spinning that. If that doesn't get leaked, they move on from this. All right. Jordan Poole was like Draymond Green's little brother before this incident. It destroyed the relationship. It fractured the locker room. It was a mess. But no, I'm not defending the violence of it. I'm just saying be aware of your surroundings a little better and take all the variables into note when you're factoring in a complicated equation, if you will. Armando, any final thoughts before we go?
No, I gotta go. We're having fun in the chat, but I gotta go. I gotta get.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. It's Friday. Armando, love you, brother. Thanks as always. Yeah. Every Friday you join us. Thanks, everybody. Bye.